A bunch of states are in the process or on the precipice of dropping their mask mandates. Particularly, we're gonna be talking about for schools, because some schools in some states did apparently at the end of the day have mask mandates for like a little bit. Yes, we are. We are very much in the middle of that wave, but regardless, some states are making this change. We have 4 different states. Oregon is the most recent to announce that it is going to be removing its statewide mask mandate for schools. We found out yesterday, by the way, that New Jersey, Connecticut, and Delaware were going to do this. Some of these states, by the way, were hit really, really hard during this wave that we're still in the middle of. Anyway, the loosening guidelines are signs that the 4 states are changing how they manage the COVID-19 pandemic as cases continue to subside. We'll show you how much subsidence been going on in a little bit. Ned Lamont, governor of Connecticut, recommended Monday that the state end their mandate on February 28th. That is the earliest date. So simply because they're announcing it doesn't mean that it's already gone, but it will be ending during this school term, I guess. Why you wouldn't just wait a couple more months and ride out the end of the semester, I don't know, but I'm not the governor of a state. Delaware, their indoor mask mandate for public and private K-12 schools and childcare facilities will end on March 31st, so about a month after Connecticut. The universal indoor mask mandate expires Friday. And the governor, John Carney of Delaware, had this to say about the policy change. I want to be clear about this point. COVID is still circulating in our communities, and the virus still poses a risk of serious illness, particularly among those who are not up to date on their vaccinations. But we have the tools to keep ourselves and each other safe. Now, let me throw out this tool to keep ourselves and each other safe. So also masks are banned now. We have tools, don't worry. Anyway, Francesca, what do you make of it?
I honestly cannot wrap my head around how and why the simplest way to stop the spread of a virus that continues to kill 2,500 people every single day still is being just tossed out. Like, we don't even have to talk about the vaccine. You just put a mask over your stupid face. Just put it over. It will stop the spread. It will help. We don't even have to do the whole Bill Gates run around microchip Fauci ouchie crap, right? And yet even that, and it just seems like such, again, talking about this as if it were a war, as if it were any kind of national mobilization. We have failed, and time and again, we throw in the towel. And honestly, I can't even think of an economic benefit for why you would get rid of a mask mandate, right? The whole thing is about let's feed our souls to the market gods. Like I get it. Like between Trump and Biden, sadly, there's been not enough of a difference between the whole get back to work push. What's the difference? What's the difference if you're wearing a mask or not? If anything, you're keeping your customers and your workers safer. People still can come into your business. What are we doing here?
Well, I think, look, I think it's complex and might vary by state. And I don't know the specific, public health culture of Delaware individually or Connecticut or whatever. But let's say that hypothetically, you could do what you said and just require it, keep your customers safe. That would probably be appreciated by the 2/3 of Americans that support mask mandates and are perfectly happy to have them continue. But what if they're cool about it, but the other 10 to 30% will make a big stink literally constantly? What if they will make your life a living hell, the lives of your employees a living hell? And what if the war thing that you were talking about, what if there's also a war on, I don't know, like the governors of these states? So what if they're like, this has been made into a war? These people did not want to be a part of the public health side of this, but they do very much love engaging in the culture war side of this. And so again, I don't know in these particular cases how much pressure they're feeling from anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers, anti-mandate people, truckers or whatever. But we do know it's out there.
I guess I'm just like really disappointed in this country. It's very funny to me to watch the Canadian truckers because they've actually had a minimal amount of lockdown 3 years in. you know? And like you hear them and they're like, some people, there's tons of Trumpers and QAnon folks, and it's being led by some really, really distasteful and like crazy conspiracy theorists. But at the other, it's attracting some Canadians because they're like, yeah, I just want to go to school and I want to go out to eat and you're like, yeah, welcome to the United States. We've been able to do that. We're all murderers. We've been murdering one another for a long time. Really proud of being murderers here. All our like restrictions on freedom, that's just in our head. It's all up here for us, which is great, easier to manipulate when it's all going on upstairs. But like, again, the one thing that stands strong, the one thing that's borne out, you were an anti-masker in 2020. By 2022, you should be completely pro-mask, right? But you're not, right? If you're like, well, the vaccine didn't work because of these breakthrough cases. If you believe that, obviously that's not true. But let's say you did. The one thing that stands strong is the freaking mask.
Yeah, assuming you wear it right and you wear the right one and everything, but no, they don't. Like, one of the most frustrating things about this is that they will say, here is the reason why I'm against doing X, whether it's a mask or a vaccine or social distancing or whatever. But very frequently, they're fundamentally not being honest about the reasons. Yep. They will say they're worried about side effects. Okay, it's been more than a year. That wasn't actually, I'm just waiting for it to get full FDA authorization. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're lying to me when you say that. That's not why you're against this.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have really the worst of both worlds. We haven't had a lockdown. We basically never have. And yet, so we get the deaths and the continued spread of disease and all that. And at the same time, we have a right saying that they're living in the middle of like the Holocaust or something. And they're literally saying that over and over, pretending that a lockdown that does not exist and never has existed exists right now. So we get the disease and we get this needless culture war, or needless from our point of view. It's certainly, there's a reason for it from their point of view. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.